All right, let's talk about another mover, Pfizer. It's sliding today as the company announces it's dropping the development of its Ozempic competitor. The pharma giant's answer to the obesity drug craze excited investors as it offered a pill over the current injectables, but news that lab results showed possible liver injury has supporters pulling back. Joining us now with the update on this, Yahoo Finance reporter Anjali Kamlani. This area is so hot, so it does feel like a setback for Pfizer.
Well, it actually is just an incremental setback. So we've had analysts talking about it as a full or just incremental, basically because Pfizer does have another candidate in the pipeline. They had told us earlier in the year that they were testing two products out. One of them, which is a once daily pill, which to your point does change the game for this space. They are scrapping that one right now, working on modifying the formula for it. Meanwhile, another option that they had in the pipeline, which is a twice daily oral, is going to move forward. Now, a little bit on that incremental setback. They haven't fully figured out the dosage of that. It does require a little bit more testing in clinical trials. So that's kind of where the news comes from today, less of a full-on setback. They're still sort of in the race with that pipeline, but it does change their timeline in competition with others. We do know that, for example, JPM analysts said today that this represents a clear setback to the program, with that once daily expected to be the more competitive one of the two assets. Again, to that point about the Eli Lilly drug. Now, let's take a look at what this race really looks like. We know about the injectables. We know that those are dominating the market right now, as some of those have already gotten approval to treat obesity specifically. But we also know that a majority of these are actually type 2 diabetes drugs. And Lilly has its own oral one also in progress. We just saw phase 2, mid-stage phase 2 results positive on that note. So really good competition for Pfizer still on that front. And meanwhile, we know oral is sort of the goal for these drugs now. So that's sort of where the race is turning into. Pfizer still well placed for that, but of course a little bit of a hiccup here as it changes which option analysts and those watching the space thought the company would be moving forward with because of that indication of liver damage. So we'll just have to wait and see if they do also reformulate it. They're working on a once daily version of that, and if they get that closer to the finish line sooner.
So, Anj, of course, everyone watching this space because, you know, people want a magic pill versus the injectables. So the competitive leader now, would it be Eli Lilly, and what does the timeline look like?
It is a little bit ahead in the sense that they're both in the phase 2 phase of trials. But Eli Lilly does have more insight, so it could be looking at its oral version getting closer. They are also waiting for that approval of Mounjaro for obesity. So it's important to remember that some of these drugs are already on the market. They're just indicated for type 2 diabetes alone. And so those are the only patients that get access to it for the weight loss benefit. Now, these drugs are also looking to be approved for the labels to indicate for obesity, even though they're being used sometimes for that right now. So the market itself is already there. It's just a matter of improving these formulations. And GLP-1s, which is the class of drugs, has been around for some time, as early as the early 2010s. So we're not looking at new drugs per se, but just better formulations of them.